A single day of labor turns a mountain gap into a fortress. With nothing but scattered limestone and bare hands, one man is building a permanent refuge. The higher elevations of this limestone range offer absolute isolation but zero existing infrastructure. Establishing a camp up here requires carrying everything on your back or finding ways to use the terrain itself. Today, the goal is to locate a natural feature that can be adapted into a sustainable shelter. Over millennia, water erosion naturally carves deep recesses into this limestone bedrock. These overhangs provide an immediate, weatherproof roof, eliminating the most labor-intensive part of any wilderness build. But a raw cave floor is rarely flat or stable enough for habitation. The first priority is claiming and conditioning the ground before nightfall. He begins by excavating the loose topsoil with a hand pick. Centuries of wind-blown debris and decayed organic matter must be completely stripped away. Leaving this soft layer intact would trap unwanted moisture directly under the sleeping area. By digging down to the denser, compacted earth beneath, the builder creates a solid foundation that will not shift under body weight. The short-handled pick is specifically chosen for this confined space. It allows for precise, driven strikes without risking a ricochet off the low ceiling overhead. Every centimeter of depth gained also increases the crucial vertical clearance inside the shelter. Working in such a cramped posture demands careful energy management. Slow, rhythmic scraping is far more mechanically efficient than rushed, heavy strikes that quickly exhaust the lower back. The dark soil finally exposed is a stark contrast to the sterile gray bedrock. Once fully leveled, this compacted earth will act as a natural thermal battery. It absorbs ambient warmth during the day and slowly radiates it back into the enclosed space overnight. This final leveling pass meticulously removes the last uneven ridges from the floor. A perfectly flat grade is essential for basic comfort, but it also dictates the overall quality of rest. Even a slight, hidden incline will gradually force a sleeper out of position. The foundation is locked in. With the interior cleared, the focus shifts to perimeter defense. He gathers fractured limestone from the surrounding slope to construct a dry stone retaining wall. Dry stone construction relies entirely on gravity and friction, using no mortar to bind the pieces. The key to stability lies in careful selection and placement. Each heavy base stone must seat perfectly against its neighbors, establishing a wide, grounded footprint. Subsequent layers are staggered, ensuring vertical seams never align, which would create a weak point that could collapse under lateral pressure. This barrier serves multiple mechanical functions. It blocks prevailing winds from stripping heat out of the shelter. It also defines the threshold between the harsh wild and the controlled camp. The irregular shapes of the raw limestone naturally interlock when placed with intention. Over time, these heavy stones will settle further into the earth, locking the entire barricade into a rigid, immovable structure. The top course of the wall requires the flattest, heaviest stones available. This final layer acts as a capstone, heavily compressing the stacked rock beneath it and tying the entire structure together. Stepping back reveals how seamlessly the low barricade blends into the surrounding environment. Using native materials does more than just camouflage the camp. It ensures the shelter behaves exactly like the mountain itself, weathering wind and temperature drops with the exact same resilience. To bridge the gap between the low wall and the rocky overhang, he weaves a screen of dry branches. While stone blocks the wind, this brush layer breaks up driving rain and harsh sunlight without fully sealing the space. Total enclosure can be dangerous in a small shelter, as it traps smoke and stagnant air. The loosely woven timber allows for passive cross-ventilation. By anchoring the thickest base branches directly into the gaps of the stone wall, the tension holds the screen upright. Thinner saplings are then threaded horizontally to create a dense, interlocking matrix. The resulting facade is lightweight, but incredibly rigid. It transforms a shallow depression into a highly functional, distinct living space. With the perimeters secured, replacing burned callards becomes the immediate priority. He sets up a modest cooking fire, keeping the footprint intentionally small to conserve dry fuel and minimize excess smoke. Using metal skewers is a deliberate choice over wooden sticks. The steel conducts heat directly into the center of the food, drastically reducing the overall cooking time. This internal thermal transfer ensures the core reaches a safe temperature just as the exterior achieves a crisp sear. Roasting over mature, glowing embers rather than open flames prevents dripping fat from igniting and producing bitter, acrid soot. The tomatoes are subjected to this same intense, radiant heat. As their skin chars and splits, the internal moisture flashes to steam, quickly breaking down the tough cellular walls. This process concentrates the natural sugars and makes complex nutrients far easier for the body to absorb. Managing a specialized cooking fire is an exercise in constant observation. Different ingredients require completely different thermal zones. The meat needs sustained heat to render the tough fats, while the delicate vegetables are positioned at the cooler edges. This deliberate pacing transforms a basic chore into a highly calculated routine. Every rotation of the steel rod extracts maximum efficiency from the fading fuel. He uses a simple flatbread to grip the hot skewers, allowing the porous dough to absorb all the rendered fats and juices. In an isolated setting, Not a single calorie can be wasted. The bread acts as both a functional utensil and a crucial source of dense carbohydrates, desperately needed to restore depleted glycogen levels. Adding a freshly peeled raw onion provides a sharp textural contrast. More importantly, it delivers a massive, immediate spike of raw micronutrients and hydration. As the ambient temperature drops across the surrounding woods, the human body will instinctively burn calories just to maintain its baseline warmth. Consuming a hot, heavy meal right before sleeping kickstarts the digestive system, effectively turning the stomach into a slow-burning internal furnace. The cooking fire has done its job. This quiet camp is now rapidly transitioning from the heavy labor of the day to the strict necessity of recovery. Complete darkness dramatically alters the psychology of an isolated camp. Without clear visual references, the dense, unseen forest can instantly feel closing and hostile. Lighting a single kerosene lantern immediately reestablishes the physical boundaries of the shelter. The confined flame does much more than merely push back the dark. It provides a warm, steady focal point that signals safety to the nervous system, allowing the adrenaline of the day to finally subside. A final hot drink serves as a crucial thermal boost before the long, cold night ahead. The thick wooden mug acts as a natural insulator, keeping the liquid hot while slowly warming the hands. Sitting with the fading embers, the builder monitors the careful transition of the fire pit. It is safely reducing to cold ash, entirely removing the risk of stray, unattended sparks. Strict organization is a mandatory discipline when operating in highly confined spaces. Every piece of essential gear must be accounted for, cleaned, and packed away before sleep. Leaving equipment scattered in the dark guarantees it will be stepped on, damaged, or lost when moving quickly. Clearing the ground completely ensures a totally unobstructed escape route if the weather suddenly turns or an emergency arises. The shelter is now stripped down to its absolute bare essentials. The heavy labor is over, and the immediate environment is entirely under control. He slides into an insulated sleeping bag directly on the freshly excavated floor. The compacted earth, slowly warmed by the daylight, now works in tandem with the bag's synthetic fibers to trap and retain his core body heat. What began as a harsh, exposed fissure in the rock has been carefully engineered into a highly efficient microclimate. The dry stone wall successfully deflects the freezing winds, the woven roof disperses the falling dew, and the leveled floor provides stable, secure rest. In the end, the structure, the landscape, and the builder's routine operate as one seamless system. It is a quiet refuge that protects and sustains itself.